Hi, today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the clock. So far, we have reviewed the clock and learned about what the different hands mean, what they represent, how the short hand represents what hour it is, and the long hand represents about how much time has gone by. Well, today we're going to learn about some of the terms that are commonly used with clocks, referring to what time they are. And today we're going to learn about the different halves and the quarters with the clock. So when I look at a clock, there's something that it makes me think about. And maybe it's just because I love food a little bit too much, but a clock reminds me of a pizza. Now maybe I didn't make this pizza too well, but it makes me think about a pizza. Now why does it make me think about a pizza? Well, they're both circular and they're both full. So this is a whole clock. And this is a whole pizza. So here with this whole clock, for a whole hour to be able to go by, that would be 60 minutes. There's 60 minutes an hour. And as this short hand goes by from one number to the next, this long hand will go by one whole time, or 60 minutes. So what happens when the long hand is down halfway? Well, if that's half the time of 60 minutes, if one whole time around is 60 minutes, then at half the time, that would mean that it is 30 minutes has gone by. So if we start up here, and we know that it's 1 o'clock, and half the time goes by, it is now 1:30. Or another way to think about this is that half the time has gone by between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. So one way to think about this would to be calling this 1:30. That's a term that people use when representing time, that half the time has gone by. So it is 1:30. So here I have another pizza of mine. Now this is half pepperoni and half cheese, so that's one way to think about it referring to pizza. That I still have a whole pizza, just half of it, or 30 minutes of my pizza, is pepperoni, and the other half, or the other 30 minutes, is cheese. So half of the time goes by where I eat half my pepperoni, and in half the other time, or the other 30 minutes, is representing the cheese. So beyond just halves, there's also quarters. Think about this. In a dollar, there's 4 quarters in a dollar. So 2 quarters equals 50 cents, or halfway. Now that's not necessarily the same those aren't the same numbers used with a clock, but that's another way to think about it. But also, the other way to think about this is think about a football game. In a football game, in one whole football game, or 60 minutes, there's a halftime. Now within that halftime, there's 2 quarters in each. So there's 2 quarters of 15 minutes apiece in each half, and then there's 2 halves to a whole game. So there's 4 quarters, 2 halves, and 1 whole game. So that's similar with this clock. There's a whole clock, there's a halfway point, then there's also 4 quarters. Don't know how well you can see my clock here, but if there's a half, then I also have these big slices. So there's 4 slices, 2 pepperoni, 2 cheese. So they're all split into quarters. So what happens when I have half my pepperoni, half my cheese, but I eat a slice of my pepperoni? So that means that this half isn't necessarily a complete half anymore. So what does that mean? A quarter of the time has gone by. So a quarter of the whole time has gone by, or half of this already existent half, which means if the whole thing is 60, half of it is 30, then another half of that 30, which is a quarter, is 15 minutes. So 15 minutes is a quarter. Now what does that time look like? The quarter numbers are always going to be on the 3 or the 9. So at this point in time, the shorthand is between the 1 and the 2, which shows that it's 1, and then this time over here pointing at the 3 represents 15. So currently, at the point where the clock is at, it's 1:15. So if we go back down here to this 1:30, we go over here to this 9, that is 1:45. So let's think about that with using the terms that we've learned. So if this is, 1/2 o'clock, then what is this in terms of using those phrases? Well, this is 1:15 or 1/4 So a quarter is 15 minutes. So basically saying 1/4 means it's 1:15. And over here at the 1:45 point, we could say it's 45 minutes past 1 o'clock, or we could say it's 3/4 past 1 o'clock. But instead of saying that, a common thing to say is that there's a quarter till 2. So let's get this pizza back. This is basically what it's saying, is in reference to it being 2 o'clock soon, there's more time that has passed to being 2 o'clock than time that has not happened with it being 1 o'clock. So more time has gone by, and we only have a quarter of the time left till it's 2 o'clock. So whenever it's 1:45, we would say that it's 1/4 to 2. So let's go ahead and move to a different time frame and see if we can remember this concept. So remember, this is a whole clock. So we have 30 minutes going by, which is down here. We have 1/4 after 6 o'clock right now. 6:30, and 1/4 till 7. Now let's go ahead and do that again. So this is 7 o'clock. Now what happens when half of the time goes by? We're getting rid of half of our pepperoni pizza and just leaving the cheese remaining. What time is that? That is 7:30 or 7:30. Half the time has gone by to get to the next hour, and 30 minutes or half the time remains to the next hour. So let's go back. So if it's 7 o'clock, and what if 15 minutes goes by? That is now 7:15 or 1/4 after 7. 7:15, 1/4 after 7. 1/4 of the whole time has gone by. There's still more time remaining in the day, but since less than half of the time goes, we're going to reference the time that hasn't gone by all the way yet, which is 7. Now when we get closer to the time where we only have 1/4 left, that's when we state the next time. So since not more than half the time has gone back, we still reference the number that it's on, which is 7. So this is 1/4 after 7. 7:30, which we've already done, or 7:30. And then we come over here. So this is the other quarter mark. As I've said, there's 1/4 of that time left to get to the next hour. So what is that time? That is 7:45. And another way to say 7:45 is that it's 1/4 till 8. So that means that there's 15 more minutes until 8 o'clock. So a whole clock, or every time the shorthand goes around from one number to the next, is 60 minutes. That is the whole time. Or another way to think about that is the whole pizza contains 60 minutes. Now if you choose to get half and half cheese, half pepperoni, you still have all 60 minutes there. This still has all your 60 minutes. This still has your 12, your 6, your 3, your 9. It's just of how much time is going by. So this would be 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here. And broken up into this pizza still, there's quarters. This is 1/4, this is 1/4, this is 1/4, and this is 1/4. So this is the first 15 minutes. This is the second 15 minutes. This is the third 15 minutes. And this is the final last 15 minutes. So here we would say, if we were referencing 12 o'clock, we would say 12 o'clock, This is the new hour, and we're waiting for time to go by until the next hour. So if 60 minutes were to go by, it would then be 1 o'clock, 1 whole hour. Now, if only 15 minutes of the time goes by, or a quarter time has gone by, we'd say it was a quarter after 12, or quarter after noon, because noon is another term for 12 o'clock. What if from here, from the 12 o'clock point, 30 minutes goes by, or half the time? Half of the time has gone by on our pizza. Well, that would be 12:30, or half past the hour, because half of the pizza is now complete. Pretend we've already eaten this pepperoni. This pepperoni's gone, we only have cheese left, so half the hour is gone, it's a half past the hour, and a half time is remaining. And then say another 15 minutes goes by. Remember, we could say it's 3/4 past the hour, but since it's closer to that next hour than the previous hour, it's better just to say that there's 15 minutes until the next hour. So when we were talking about 12 o'clock, we would be saying there's 15 minutes until the next hour, which is 1. 15 minutes till 1. So today we've learned about how pizza relates to clocks. We have a whole pizza, we have our half pizzas, and we have quarters. And as the time goes by daily, we will now be able to learn the references of using half past in the quarter time, and learning how those reference to everyday life, and using those terms. That way you can be able to better understand those times. Thanks for checking in, and you'll be learning more about the clock soon to come. Thanks so much.